Welcome back to ShedLife, and we're finally getting around to talking about my 1.4 Honda Civic. It's 2001, it cost me £500, and as you can see, it's not the best colour, but let me tell you a bit more about the car. So, it is a 1.4, it is a D series engine with no VTEC. Honda, what were you thinking? We all want VTEC, so in the bin with that. However, it does have 90 horsepower and 130 newton meters of torque, and it's enough, you'll get by. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it's enough. Now, it has lots of room inside as it's a 5-door, and it's an EU7 chassis code. It is similar to the 3-door, which is the EP3, which was made from 2000 to 2006. Now, in this video, we're going to take you around it, show the inside, go for a drive, and then I'll give my final overview of the car. So, if you want to know a bit more, continue to watch, and we'll see you in a sec. So, welcome to the interior of my Honda. Now, what can I tell you about it? It has cloth seats. They did come with leather seats, but this one didn't, and to be honest, I probably prefer it, as you won't get a sweaty backside. Now, as you can see, we have tons of room, and if Rob passes me the camera, you'll see he is actually comfortable in the back.
It is very comfy, I give him that.
Yeah, and I could also probably sit in the back and be fairly comfortable. So there's lots of room, and the visibility is really good.
It is, apart from right now, it's raining.
It's raining and it's fogging up. So the steering wheel is a fairly nice size. I quite like it. It could be a fraction smaller. That's what I thought when I initially got it, but I've got used to it. I think it looks quite good. Obviously, it's not the worst steering wheel in the world, so I have no complaints. Gear shift, best bit about the car. Kapow, kapow, kapow! Feel like a race car driver. That's just what you want in Honda, and everyone who's driven it loves it because they feel like a race car driver too. So that is the best bit about this car, and the one reason to buy this car. Now, radio, it is what it is. It's not the best, but we have aircon as well, so we just get the magic lights lighting up when they want to work. So we have aircon as well. We also have, what else do we have in here? We have not much. There's electric windows, and what is most interesting is what Rob's going to show you now. So 3 doors have electric windows.
1, 2, 3, and magically this one is a windy window. The only one in this entire vehicle. Why is that?
I have no idea. So
it is.
It is what it is. So we're now on the driving portion of the video, and what I really want to cover is what is this car like to live with, how does it accelerate, how does it brake, how does it handle, are there any features inside worth knowing about. So let's start with acceleration. The Honda D-Series engine loves to rev. It's not got the most power in the world with 90 horsepower, but for a little shed, it's perfect. And then when you're in the higher rev range, so I'm at 4K, 5K, coming up to 6K, I'm going to keep it there as I got a corner. It just loves staying in that rev range. And the brakes, they're enough. They do their job. They're not the best things in the world, but they, like I said, they do their job. Now, I'm gunning it down this A road, and then in 5th gear at 70, it's just under 3,500 revs. Now, most cars, they'd be screaming their heads off, but this has an acceptable noise level. I would have no complaints using this on a motorway. Now, handling wise, we've got some corners coming up in a second, and I've got to be honest with you, it's no sports car, and it does take the bumps in its stride, as you can see at the moment. It's probably got knackered shocks, I'm going to say that much. It's not as well damped as it could be, but then for 500 quid, what do you expect? I'm sure if you spent the money on fresh new shockers, it'd handle beautifully around town, soak up all the bumps. Now, round these corners, I'm just going to give it some round these corners, and we'll see how it handles. Now, the steering is not the most accurate, it's a bit vague, and that engine, I just love that engine, it's a peach of an engine. Yeah, oh god, it really does handle like a boat. So it ain't no sports car, guys, but round town is enough. You're not really going to be thrashing this too much, but when you do, that engine is a peach. Now, the best thing about this car, gear stick. Oh man, I love this thing, and every one of my friends who's jumped in this car, the first thing they look at is that gear stick and go, that's a weird place to put it. And I think when these cars came out, so the Civic Type R is the same generation, except this is an EU4 rather than the EP3. Everyone's apprehensive about it. It's like, oh, that's like a van, that's going to be a bit weird. And they jump in, they try it, and within 2 seconds you see a big smile on their face, myself included, and that's the best bit about the car. You're shifting gears like a race car driver. It's really quick. You could have a shorter shift, not really what you need in a cheap runabout, mostly driven by old people, I can assume, who bought these. But, oh, Honda, you're geniuses. I love this. I kind of want this in every car I drive. It's in a perfect location. The ergonomics of it are just brilliant, and you can shift down really quickly, knock it up, you can bash through those gears, lightning quick. I really can't praise that enough. Steering wheel has a nice feel to it. Everything else, like clocks wise, is well demonstrated. It has aircon, which works. What doesn't work on a Honda? The radio is okay for what it is. I feel like I've got lots of room. I can see out. The visibility is really good. I love the fact Honda have put heated mirrors in this, so when you've got cold, icy mornings, they will defrost. However, my car definitely has some sort of leak, because every time we've had a cold morning, I've had to scrape the inside for frost, which you can imagine takes a long time and is not convenient. Obviously, you can buy newer cars which won't have these problems, so be prepared, but then you're paying 500 quid. That is what you expect. You deal with your problems and put up with it. Most people in their new cars, so I'm looking around me now, I can see an X3, lots of expensive cars, which are probably a £500 a month payment. Why bother when you can get a cheap Honda? This is what ShedLife is all about. Enjoy the car, enjoy the quirks, and just take the problems as they come. To be honest, they're not much of an inconvenience. The only one I have found which was an inconvenience was when my driver's door lock froze shut, but luckily I could get in through the passenger door, and then by the time it heated up and it melted, we could get in both doors, but that was rather amusing. I'm trying to think of any other quirks and features worth telling you about. It's got electric windows in this model. You can get leather seats in some of the other higher spec versions, but the cloth seats do their job. I know the bolster on my driver's seats definitely failed, but if yours is working, it will, you know, hold you in that bit better. So overall, for £500, I love this thing. And my only issue now is when it comes up to MOT time, I am going to plan to sell it so we get something different on the channel. So my issue is, what do I replace it with which is going to be as good? Because as an overall well-rounded car, this does everything brilliantly. It's got tons of space to carry passengers. It's got tons of room to put all your stuff in the boot because it's got such a big boot. It accelerates nicely for what it is. Obviously, it's no sports car, as I've mentioned. It brakes enough. Yeah, I've just got no complaints. Like, it just goes, it does the job. It does what a Honda should do. It gets you from A to B with no complaints. You don't have to worry about the reliability. And I believe that's probably all my points covered on my drive. So I will sum up with a final overview right now for you. Final thoughts on the Honda Civic. Now, I haven't told you about fuel yet. It's not that great on fuel, so don't expect a lot out of it. I'm just using it for B roads, and for that, I have no complaints. It's fine around town, it does what it does. Now, who would I recommend this car to? New drivers will love it. If you bump it off a post, doesn't matter. If you rev the hell out of it, the Honda engine will take it. Anyone driving A to B, just want to, you know, bump around town, put your stuff in the back, not worry. Honda reliability, you know it's always going to start. Perfect. Now, future for this car, when it comes round to MOT time, we're going to get a full MOT, clean it up good, and hopefully flog it on for a profit. We need something more exciting on ShedLife. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. For anyone else, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.